One side note on Michelle Obama. Can we just note how overrated she is? And like all the hype around Michelle Obama. Oh, she's going to run for office. And she's just, I don't want to get into the aesthetics of all of it, but the presentation of her podcast is terrible.
Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's the man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
It took Joe Rogan and Charlie Kirk less than 5 minutes to shred Michelle Obama's polished persona into a political meme. Rogan came in raw with podcast-fueled bluntness, while Kirk brought the intensity of a college debater double shot on Red Bull. Together, they didn't just criticize, they demolished, cracking her image like a gluten-free cookie at a Texas BBQ. Michelle's signature composure? Missing in action. What did they say that turned her legacy into a soggy motivational poster in a thunderstorm? Buckle up. This roast brought sarcasm, receipts, and absolutely zero chill.
She's just whining all the time and she's complaining. Right, again, I'm not trying to look in people's looks. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the whole aura of it, to use a Gen Z term, is terrible. It's negative. It's just kind of her lamenting, and then she's obviously there's problems with her daughters and all that. I don't want to get into that.
Michelle Obama's PR team must be running on fumes at this point, still trying to buff a statue built on contradictions, hoping no one notices the echo inside. Picture this. They're selling her as a kale-growing, hope-preaching grassroots queen of wokeness, all while she lives like the empress of a Whole Foods-inspired Versailles. It's the PR equivalent of hosting a podcast on minimalism from the back of a gold-plated Bentley, brought to you by Gucci.
To see everybody having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
And when it comes to podcasts, Joe Rogan didn't even need to break a sweat. No kettlebells, no rants. Just an eye roll, a lifted brow, and a casual, "What are we doing?" That alone was enough to shatter Michelle's carefully crafted brand, like a stale vegan cookie forgotten in a Malibu mansion pantry. While most of the media treats her like Queen Beyoncé's serious twin, Rogan just shows up, and her contradictions collapse like a TED Talk held together with vibes and best-selling book deals.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
Yeah, I know.
You're rich as Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk's over here rubbing his hands like a raccoon spotting a hot dog in a Walmart parking lot. Say what you will about him, and let's be honest, most of us have, but he knows political theater when he sees it. And Michelle Obama? Fresh off her 5th memoir, 4th documentary, and her 30,000th magazine cover titled, "Why I'm Still Relatable," just served up a performance worthy of a Razzie. Let's not forget, this is the same Michelle who, with that iconic solemn slow blink sincerity, told us she hates politics. Right before launching a nationwide voter registration campaign with enough balloons to rival the Macy's parade. And while she was at it, yet another Netflix documentary about being misunderstood. Sis, misunderstood by who? The gardeners in Martha's Vineyard?
But we built up on the right. Michelle Obama is going to be the hardest person ever to run against. And her book sold so many copies. And my goodness, you want to talk about the most overrated political hype of a generation? It would go to Michelle Obama. Anyway, that's just a side note that's been on my mind for a while.
I'm happy to make fun of her look. It's very strange. It was Benny Johnson who dubbed that one hairstyle the Stegosaurus.
I'm not getting into that.
She like 3 bumps on the back, Stegosaurus. It's very...
Joe Rogan could barely make it through the recap of Michelle Obama's latest Real Talk appearance without cracking up. Between the wine glass gripping monologues and emotional tales of how tough it was living in the White House, With round-the-clock staff, private chefs, designer wardrobes, and a security detail that could stop time, Rogan lost it. She talks like she built the White House with her bare hands and had to Airbnb it to survive, he said. Then came Charlie Kirk, lighting up like someone handed him rules for radicals wrapped in Constitution leather. He was practically ready to live stream a PowerPoint titled, Michelle Obama, the most successful brand since Tide Pods. Her latest hardship? She says fame makes her feel invisible. Yes, invisible. The woman who could sneeze and land a Vogue cover says she feels unseen. At this point, it's like watching a Kardashian complain about not being taken seriously at a philosophy convention. Rogan had one question. Does she think invisibility kicks in when she puts on sunglasses and walks into Whole Foods with a full security team? Kirk didn't miss a beat, calling it peak liberal privilege. When Michelle cries invisibility, the average American wonders if they need to be rich, famous, and Oprah's BFF just to vanish from their 9 to 5. You'd think someone in her circle might whisper, "Hey Michelle, maybe don't compare your life struggles to literally everyone else's." But nope, another Netflix deal, another book tour, and another arena full of sobbing white women dropping $400 a seat to hear how hard it was to wear a cardigan on The View. Double asterisk.
Were the women
I remember.
like
It's our little secret.
Yeah, this is what they think of. This is what they think of Republican women.
That. Of course. I mean, look, first of all, just like the embedded kind of just implied chauvinism that all of our relationships in the Trump world are like we tell our wives exactly what to do. It's like, okay, no, we all have agency, okay? Secondly, I just have to comment on this. She's really lost a step. Just embedded in her language is like she's really let Donald Trump break her.
Where are the women? I remember. It's our little secret. Yeah, this is what they think of Republican women. First off, let's talk about the baked-in chauvinism here. The implication that every relationship in Trump's orbit is just men dictating orders to obedient wives. Really? As if none of us have agency or independent thought. Second, and it needs to be said, Michelle Obama sounds like she's lost a step. It's right there in her language. The bitterness, the cracks. It's like she let Donald Trump live rent-free in her head and now he's redecorated. She didn't just react, she unraveled.
She used to have, don't you agree? She used to present a lot better and with like more zest and more energy and more intensity. It's like this Michelle Obama just looks broken. And she's kind of doing the wine mom thing and she's just kind of like, I'm just kind of meandering through life. Anyway, I'm not upset about
populated
it.
Populated like every 30 seconds with, what about me?
Let's zoom in on Michelle Obama's healthy food legacy. Remember when she basically declared war on school vending machines? Suddenly, kids across America were opening their lunch boxes to find kale chips, crushed hopes, and a note that might as well have read, "Because Michelle said so." She did what decades of cafeteria pizza and spoiled milk never could: unite students in total rebellion. Joe Rogan once bit into one of those Michelle-approved snacks and said it tasted like cardboard soaked in disappointment. Charlie Kirk, he's still convinced it was all a secret plot to raise a generation of kids too malnourished to fight socialism. And yet, Michelle walks around draped in this untouchable media-made halo. The press practically throws rose petals at her feet every time she steps on stage in a $3,000 "I'm just like you" outfit. Rogan summed it up best. She could show up wearing a swan carcass, and Vanity Fair would call it revolutionary modesty. Then there's her constant flip-flopping on politics. One minute she's done with it all. The next she's dropping hints so heavy they register on the Richter scale. She walks into a room and someone whispers, "Madam President," and she just smiles. At this point, teasing a run has become her version of merch. Charlie Kirk didn't miss a beat, calling it the longest political striptease in history. Every few months, she reappears in a perfectly tailored pantsuit, says something vague like, "America needs healing," then vanishes into a book tour like Political Bigfoot. Meanwhile, Rogan asked the question no one else dares. If she's not running, why does every speech sound like a State of the Union audition?
You know Michelle is a trans...
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all...
She's mastered the art of saying everything while revealing absolutely nothing. Let's rise, she declares, stepping over common sense in 6-inch heels. Rogan called it the Wizard of Oz playbook. All smoke, no wizard. Kirk? He compared her to a motivational screensaver. Nice to look at, but completely useless during a power outage. So the next time Michelle drops a tear-streaked op-ed from her spa suite in the Alps, just know Rogan and Kirk will be waiting, armed with satire, skepticism, and maybe a gluten-free snack she once banned. While Michelle floats above the chaos on a cloud of curated empathy and green smoothies, the rest of us are stuck in traffic wondering how anyone can preach struggle from a private jet. Joe Rogan's eye roll said more than 1,000 think pieces. And Charlie Kirk? He practically banished her political branding to the shadow realm. Because at the end of the day, no matter how many Netflix docs she drops or breathy monologues she whispers into designer microphones, reality doesn't flinch. The pedestal's cracking, the glitter's fading, and the only thing more out of touch than her message is her Wi-Fi in Martha's Vineyard.